Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Giovanna Silvestre. She's an author, influencer, and entrepreneur. Welcome to the show, Giovanna.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form, Giovanna. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll talk about how one can reach from confusion to clarity, reach personal transformation for themselves. We understand all that. But before that, let's understand a bit about you, about your journey, about your background, so that the audience learns a bit more about who they are listening to.
Sure. So I'll take this from, I'll start at college. So I graduated from the University of Southern California here in Los Angeles. And after school, I studied international relations. And after school, I got a job working in the entertainment industry. So I worked with companies like Marvel Studios and ABC. And I was in that for a few years, and I got pretty high up in the entertainment industry. And my dream was to be a producer. And then it got to this point a few years in where I just was feeling very dissatisfied and unhappy. So I thought, okay, my family owned an Italian restaurant, a little like in the central coast of California. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll take over the family business because, like you've probably heard before, first generation kids feel like a big responsibility to take over the family legacy. And so I am the oldest child, so I felt that. And then I was there for a couple of years and again, very unhappy, very lost. And then I came back to Los Angeles and I also had broken up with my boyfriend. Like I had all these years, I have no money and I don't even know what I want to do. I didn't even know who I was. And what I realized, and then that very much put me into a depression, not knowing where I was going and not even knowing who I was. And I realized that I had spent most of my 20s doing things where I tried to look good to other people. So it was a lot of trying to look good, trying to be acceptable, trying to be competitive in society. And in the end, I had spent years doing things I didn't enjoy and I didn't even know who I was. So I was like, okay, Giovanna, we got to figure out who you are. And then that's where my spiritual journey started.
Absolutely. So, did you find who you are? Can you tell us who you are?
I'm a lot of things. Um, well, how I started to kind of figure out who I was, and I would really recommend this to anyone who is feeling like I just described, is I started to try one new thing a week to figure out what I liked and what I didn't like. I mean, I went bungee jumping, I went skydiving, I went salsa dancing, I took a boxing class. I mean, it's pretty much like anything. You could even go shop for cars, even if you don't intend to buy one, but just to see which one do I actually like versus what other people are saying is in right now, what's cool, what society's saying I should like, or my family saying that I should like, but really going, what do I like? Because that's part of getting to know thyself.
Right.
So
Carry on, carry on.
I would just say that's a really good starting point.
Absolutely. So, let's go a bit further down and understand what confuses that. What confused you? You looked at, all the glamour part, the achievement part, very early on, and that should make one proud about it and then decide. Then you also looked at the restaurant industry. People are, people look for such a thing, and for themselves. But why it did not happen in why did it confuse you?
Well, I think when you don't have a good idea of who you are, you go into things for maybe vain reasons. So the restaurant was because of the family pressure, money. It was, the money was flowing. So it wasn't like anything I had to start from nothing, like I ended up doing. I ended up doing everything from nothing. I made it a lot harder on myself. But and then the film industry too, it was like I get to tell everybody I worked with this celebrity and make myself sound really cool. And if you're constantly trying to look good to other people, if you're constantly concerned about what everybody else is thinking, you're never going to figure out who you are and be comfortable with that. At some point you have to let that go. And I did. And then there was, a lot of other things that I did on top of that. I actually wrote a book about it. And so, yeah, so on this journey to discovery, though, what was really interesting was once I figured out who I was and I felt more secure with myself, I was able then to figure out my purpose. And so I started a yoga wear line inspired by healing crystals. And then after that kind of blew up for a few years, I decided I wanted to travel the world and write a book. And I wanted to write a book to help other people who are going through the same thing that I went through.
Right, right. So I I want to understand. You talked about that, but when one keeps on achieving things, and
Yes.
they at that point in time think that this is what they wanted, and then another thing that they look at, which is fine. You said try one thing, 1 week, 1 week. Where does it end? What is it that we are seeking for ourselves? When will this whole search end? Is it that we may be looking at the wrong thing, searching for the wrong thing? It is like those prompts in for chat gpt or any of the thing. You put the right word and then you get the right output. What is your understanding of this?
Well, my understanding of this is that if you're expecting something outside of yourself to make you feel good about who you are and to give you um, a confidence and a peace within yourself, it's that's not going to happen. If I was, after I wrote my book, I was proud of myself for doing that. That was an achievement, and I found an agent, again another achievement. But then I was rejected for 2 years by publishers. And I really just let that go. And my book and my worth were not attached. And my worth as an individual wasn't riding on whether someone was going to say yes to my book or not. I already said yes to my book. And I
Right.
was going to
What
self
about
oh sorry.
carry on.
And
I'm listening.
and I was going to self-publish even if a publisher didn't want it. But what I think is so miraculous, because I had come so far with knowing myself and feeling confident within myself that I didn't need the external validation, like a publisher to publish me, to feel like I had accomplished something. I just had let it go for 2 years. And then 2 months before my father passed away, two publishing companies had a bidding war on my book.
Right. Bidding war. Carry on.
So it was, for me, it was just a great reminder that one, patience, and number two, you just got to let things go. And you cannot put your personal worth riding on other things, or you cannot put your happiness into when I get $1 million, I'll be happy, because you're bringing the you that you've been with when you get the $1 million, and then you can't change.
Right. Right.
You know,
So carry on. Carry on.
no, I was just going to say, like my mother, she, she has a hard time concentrating and being in the moment. And she has to go into her garden, and then she has to go over here, and then she has to go over to her desk. And she's like, I call her and she's like, I'm busy, I'm busy. And then she always used to blame that on my dad because he was, always doing things, a lot of energy. So she used to blame that busyness on him. But then when he passed away, she was doing the same thing. And I said, Mom, you're doing the same thing, but he's not here anymore. So you can't blame him. And she's like, I know. She's like, I'm really trying to figure out how to stop being a busybody, like somebody that has to do things every second. She's like, I'm really trying to figure out how I stop this, but it's so hard. And so that's the thing, is like, you have to change internally. You have to find the happiness internally. It's not going to come with whatever that comes in your life. It won't last with anything external.
Right. Right, Giovanna. So I want to understand, I'll come to the book also, is that you talk about letting go. How do I know what to keep and what to let go? How did you decide for yourself?
You got to use your brain and your heart.
both at the same time?
Yes, because sometimes the heart wants things that the brain is like, you gotta let this go, this is not good for you, and then sometimes the brain wants things and the heart is like, that's not good for you. So yes, I think I think it's good to let go of things that no longer serve you.
Serve you again? That is very confusing. It is like, serve. What is this serving? You should. Is it like some piece of paper that you use and throw off, or is it serving means something much more different than that? Is it part of self care?
Well, it's a part of self-care. Like, serving means something that's not working for you in your life anymore. Something that's not for your betterment.
Okay. Okay. Let's come to the book. Confused Girl,
Yes.
Find Your Peace in the Chaos. Who is this book for?
I wrote this book for all the girls that are like me, who are confused about their life. They feel shameful for not having all the answers. And because that's how I felt. And I call my brand Confused Girl in the City. And I wrote this for all the confused girls out there because I want to take the shame about not having all the answers out of the equation. And the whole premise of the book is that confusion is actually a virtue. Because without the confusion, you're not going to discover anything. And life is about discovery. I think one of the things about me that I definitely think is a gift is I am curious. I am curious about everything. I am like always asking questions. I'm always thinking. I am a curious cat. And so I think that, and that's the only way that you discover things. So I always want to be confused because I always want to be discovering things.
Absolutely. So you only wrote it for girls? Aren't boys also confused as much? Why only girls?
It's so funny. My dad said that, I was reading him the chapters, before he passed away. And he goes with his thick Italian accent. He's like, Giovanna, men need this too. Men are so confused. And and I was like, yeah, it's true, Papa. And then I called my publisher and I was like, my dad said that men need this too. And she's like, honey, the girls buy the books. And I was like, okay. But hey, if a guy wants to learn a little bit more about women, pre-order it.
Right. So it's coming out in around May next year.
Yes. Yes, May next year, but you can pre-order it now.
So, a lot of people would like to know more about your story, wanting to connect with you, and also about your book. So, what's the best way for them to do so? Also, about the book, as I said.
Okay, so you can find me on Instagram at Confused Girl LA, and you can also go to my website, and my clothes are there. My book is there. You can pre-order my book, confusedgirlinthecity.com.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.